do are solar generators worth it in 2025? And basically the solar generators are practically everywhere right now. And the real question becomes is, are they worth it? And this kind of overlaps with an earlier subject, but it really is, this one I'm going to focus explicitly on, are the generators worth the extra money that you pay for them for that convenience? I've tested a bunch of them against the DIY systems, and there are some trade-offs. As we can talk about the convenience of solar generators, and it comes down to what are your uses for the solar generator as opposed to the DIY. The technology's come a long way, and the cool part is the batteries have now gotten to the point where as long as you're buying a solar generator with a LifePod battery, LifePod 4 battery, they're going to last quite a while. The electronics in them will probably wear out before the actual batteries do, which is something we can't say about our cell phones. Usually we end up with the walking around with a charger cable connected to our cell phone 24/7. But the technology's come a long way. The batteries have gotten a lot better, and so I think that from that extent they're really good. We can talk about that a little bit. Let's also talk about where do they shine and where do they fall short? Where are solar generators really strong and very helpful, and where do they not work so well and you should really think about another alternative? So before you, and some of them can be very expensive because you're paying a premium for them to put this together for you and to wrap it all up in a nice neat package. You're paying a premium. So before you go out and rush out and buy one, you really ought to look at all of the options available and decide if they're the right choice for you. You might be surprised in some of the situations where it actually makes the most sense to not have a solar generator as opposed to having a solar generator. All right. I think I got the wrong UPC code there. There we go. There's the UPC code for the solar generators. So let's talk about exactly what is a solar generator first. And I want to clarify my definition of a solar generator. And that is when they basically take the inverter, the charge controller, the battery, all the plugs and ports and everything that you would need to operate short of solar panels. They wrap it all together for you. They seal them in a box, and you basically, they're plug and play, and you don't have to hook up any wires. You don't have to connect anything except the solar panels. That is my definition of a solar generator, and it's a pretty generic definition in the industry. Most everything else is some level of DIY solar where you're putting together charge controllers with batteries. Even when you have an all-in-one charge, an all-in-one units that have come out these days, you still have to hook up separate batteries, separate solar panels. You can run them in parallel. You can, hook up more than one battery and so on and so forth. So you still have a lot of flexibility with those DIY systems. A solar generator is usually an all-in-one unit, and it's very limited in its ability to be upgraded short of adding storage space being batteries, and even that in most cases is very limited. Where they shine is that they are very, very easy to use. You could basically take a solar generator, you can throw it in the back seat of your car, and you can head out of town. You could stop at the side of the road. You could plug in a coffee pot. You could make yourself a pot of coffee. You could keep your freezer cold. You could, charge your cell phones. You can go fishing and use it to keep a refrigeration for whatever you catch, for your dinner, for whatever you want. The ease of use is just outstanding. Plug and play, set up in a few minutes. Charging can be done from where you plug them into a wall and then you use them as you're traveling or whatever. You can also hook up some solar panels. They have some portable panels that you can just plug in and set on the side and use them that way. So ease of use is key here. The portability for tailgating, for camping, for weekend warriors out at RVing and stuff like that. The portability is bar none. There is no comparison to it. They're safe. They're designed to be moved around and all of that. So no real problems there. The cost per watt over DIY is extraordinarily higher than it would be if you were to build the same system yourself with a DIY system. And that's why when you get into a fixed system as opposed to a portable fishing hobby type thing, you'd probably want to go with a DIY system as opposed to a solar generator. Solar generators can cost sometimes 2 to 3 times more than building a system of your own, not to mention the lack of flexibility when it comes to expanding them and so on and so forth. Expandability is very limited. You get some extra batteries occasionally, but pretty much that's going to be about it. You really can't increase the inverter power. You can't really increase a lot of the other features and things that come along with them. They're very limited in that they're designed to do a very specific purpose. They're built to do that, and you pay the premium for it to do exactly what you wanted it to do when you bought it. So you have to be very careful to make sure that whatever future plans you have, you take into account, because there's no take backs with these, and some of these can run thousands of dollars, and so your investment is really high, and the risk of not having what you need when you're done. On the other side, you still can buy a separate one to do separate things, so there is some of that. One of the things that they shine in is safety and reliability. They've got a lot of built-in protections. They've got built-in fuses and breakers. They've got UI certifications. They've got there's no hands-on experience required. If you're a retiree and you just want your RV to have lights and a fan, there's no comparison. The solar generator is perfect for that type of thing. Longevity, battle cycles, they are going to last. They're going to start to wear and tear, and it's only going to be as strong as its weakest part. So that means even if the Life Power 4 battery can do the 25, 30 years of cycles as it would with a DIY battery, it's not going to be able to do that in a solar generator. And the reason being is every piece of wire, every connector, every battery, every inverter, every electrical piece, if any one of them break, they're not serviceable. It's like buying a TV in today's world. When your TV breaks, you don't take it to a repair guy anymore. You just go buy a new one. And the same thing's true with this. So longevity, you might end up with some issues there, whereas the DIY system, the flexibility is you can replace the one component, you can upgrade the one component, you can expand the one component. Where they really shine, though, is off-grid emergency use. So let's talk about the case where you have a very specific use case. For example, you have a refrigerator that you keep medical supplies in or something along those lines. You can have a backup solar generator that you plug that, if it's sized correctly and it's and you've got it ready when this happens, you can plug that refrigerator in and it run nonstop and completely and totally be maintenance free the rest of the year, short of making sure you keep it charged and all that. It can also do double duty as being great for going camping and road trips and that kind of stuff. But then you have it when those emergencies come up. That's when they really shine, is temporary short-term use of emergency circumstances or convenient circumstances. That's going to be your number one benefit and where they really, really, really shine. When you should avoid them, when you have any kind of home power hungry type things. If you're trying to run air conditioners, if you're trying to run large devices that long-term off-grid type environments, they're not going to be your best thing because the wear and tear on them, like I said, they're not as serviceable as something like a DIY system. So this is where you really should start to avoid them, is when you start trying to get, you're going to do a whole home backup, or you're going to do long-term off-grid for your cabin or something like that. You're going to be better off there with a DIY system. That's going to really truly be the weakness to them, in that thing. They're kind of say, the overall thing is they're perfect for emergencies, for camping, for quick setups and tear downs, weekends, that kind of thing. But they're not good for long-term use. They're not good for big industrial environments, or big air conditioners, or basically saying, hey, if I get hit by a hurricane, I'm going to run my whole house on them. They're not going to work for that. They're more for your emergency use, very limited use, very short term. They shine in those environments. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Drop them in the comments below. The QR code that's on the screen has links to a whole bunch of different units and systems and things. Hopefully you'll find some of those helpful. They're kind of the top picks and the top generators on the market at this point. Make sure you subscribe to the email list. I'm going to have some cool drawings and stuff in the future, and those that are already signed up, don't risk missing them. Also, you get some really cool news and up-and-coming events and things that I've got going on. I'll let you know about them. And hopefully that helps you with that. With solar generators in 2025, the thing is, sure, if you're going to use them for short-term use, yes, they're a great thing. Get the right size. They'll serve you well. If you're looking for anything long-term or something like that, then no, they're not gonna be able to do that.